Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we got a story of a woman being turned away from a cruise ship and saying it's all because she was discriminated against. And we also have a security guard being investigated from a DJ Khaled cruise. That's an interesting one. We have that man who assaulted another passenger in the theater on the Carnival Magic back in October. Well, he's pleading guilty, so I guess we don't have to say allegedly assaulted anymore. And finally, we have an issue going on in Spain, especially in right now Barcelona, that is going to start affecting all cruise ships. I believe it was back in July of last year where DJ Khaled was promoting a Norwegian cruise line, like a music festival situation. He had his own security service on board as well, where a woman claims that she was in the comedy club, became intoxicated, and lost her way back to her room where a large, and they do quote this, a large security guard officer pretended to help her from the almighty protection services, instead ushered her into a other stateroom, an empty stateroom, not hers, and proceeded to assault her in that room. She says that in this lawsuit, they also say that they did talk to the police and she reported it to even where she lives, the local police force there. She's been under treatment for severe anxiety and stress and psychological problems ever since the incident. And she is suing Norwegian Cruise Line, the Protection Agency, and DJ Khaled. Now, why DJ Khaled? Well, it's because it was his personal protective services guys there that he hired to help secure the area for the extra passengers and himself and his crew, etc., things like that. Did he have anything to do with this himself? No, nothing to do with this himself. It's just that he's related because it was his event on board. They filed lawsuits to dismiss this lawsuit. In case you're wondering, because he's a famous, multi-millionaire, and is this a lawsuit that's going after a lot of money? They're going after like millions of dollars on this lawsuit. The lawsuit's for $75,000. It's an awful lot of trouble to go through a lawsuit and claim all these different things for $75,000 because you don't usually get 75. Most people in this case, where they're just looking for money, would hope to get like a handout payoff and things like that. So I don't know if this is one of those. Some people are claiming that it is, but it's a very low amount of a lawsuit if that's what she's going after. I mean, why not shoot for the stars and go after $100 million? We're talking about a very famous celebrity here. So yeah, those claims are a little outlandish, so I will follow this along and see what happens. The case to be dismissed has not been decided yet. Now, speaking of cases that aren't going to be dismissed, remember back in October on the Carnival Magic where a man was making a lot of noise in the theater and disturbing other passengers, and a man asked him twice to settle down and be quiet, and the man didn't. He just kept going. Of course, he's drunk, as we say. When the other man who asked him to be quiet got up to go get help from Carnival, which should have already been happening. I say this all the time. Whenever there's a disturbance in the theater, the cruise lines have to be attending these and have to remedy the situation. They can't let it go on because this is the kind of thing that happened. When he was on his way out, the other man confronted him and smashed his cocktail glass across the man's face, and then jumped on him and proceeded to beat him. Now, when he was interviewed, he claimed it was in self-defense, that the other man attacked him. Well, apparently the video and all the evidence against him has kind of proven, no, that's not the case of what happened. The interviews from the people on board who witnessed it says that's not what happened. And he has now said he is pleading guilty to assault. So I guess we don't have to say allegedly anymore. He is guilty of assault because he's pleading guilty in assault, and he is to be sentenced in August. And if they were to decide that make a case out of this, he could get up to 10 years in jail for doing an assault like this, with causing damage, irreparable damage to a person's face and stuff like that. So yeah, not a good situation at all. In Spain, they are currently under a drought right now. And in Barcelona, they have agreed with the CLIA, the Cruise Line International Association, that they will not provide water to the cruise ships unless it's an emergency during the emergency that's happening in Barcelona right now with the current drought and the shortage of water. Now, majority of cruise ships create their own water, fresh water when they're out at sea. They have all their distillation plants and everything going on. They can create over 90% of their water on most cruise ships, especially the newer ships. Will it impact cruise ships too much? Not normally. If anything, a cruise ship might be forced to stay out at sea a little longer to gather more water than when they go into port. However, it should not affect them too much, at least currently. And of course, the order will be lifted once the emergency in Spain on the drought has subsided. And by the way, that is also starting to affect some tourist destinations in Spain as the water is going away in some of the tourist locations, and they may start limiting tourists in these areas as well. Something to keep an eye on for anybody heading there, whether you're heading there by cruise ship or whether you're heading there by land. And then finally, we have a mother and daughter who were heading on the Carnival Luminosa for a 3-day cruise. And when she went to get on the cruise, the Carnival said, "Oh, wait a minute. Are you expecting?" And of course, she said, "Yes, I'm expecting." She's very happy about this. And she was apparently in her 26th week. And it says very clearly in the terms of condition under pregnancy that nobody who will be in their 24th week or entering their 24th week during the cruise shall be permitted to cruise. And it even says, please do not book the cruise if this will be the case. You will not be allowed to board. And of course, they didn't read the terms and conditions. They just assumed it would be the exact same as the airlines. Because we all know everything around the world is exactly the same as everything else, right? I mean, Disney World has the exact same rules and policies as Universal Studios, don't they? It runs the same way. It's exactly the same. Unfortunately, no. And the one thing that they did say is that they talked to Carnival, and Carnival says, no, you're not going to get your money back because it says very clearly, we will not allow you to cruise. Don't even book the cruise. And they are calling this discrimination against pregnant women, pregnancy. I don't know, because cruise ships are not equipped to handle prenatal emergencies and early birth, and what happens if something goes wrong, what happens if the baby is turned inside. They're not equipped to handle this kind of situation. And can you imagine a woman goes into birth like 6 to 7 weeks early, the baby's turned, and the worst happens to the baby? How many lawsuits would happen from that? And that's why they don't allow this. They're not equipped to handle this situation. What if they're in a foreign country, the woman goes into labor and everything, they have to drop her off there and there's problems. Now she's on the hook for all the money and all the stuff like that in this hospital. Is the cruise line responsible for her there? That's why they have these rules. That's why airlines have rules for certain times of flying. They checked with their medical staff and legal teams and they set their time. And unfortunately, yeah, it's on us. It's not on the cruise line when we have any medical conditions. When I'm going through my cancer treatments and everything, I check the terms and conditions. I find out exactly what I'm allowed to do, what insurance I'm allowed to have. I do all my own investigating. I don't call people, I investigate myself. I Google. Google's a wonderful tool. It's amazing what things you can find on Google. And you can find specific items for every single cruise line out there for anything that you're looking for. You just have to Google it and stick with it. And unfortunately, they did not do this. They just assumed that it was the same as the airlines, and it wasn't. And unfortunately, they're out that $2,000 for the 3-day cruise, where a simple Google search could have saved them a lot of travel time and a lot of money. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.